Good evening. I've just finished reading Written in Red by Anne Bishop. This story takes place in a land called Taija, which is currently quote-unquote shared by humans and supernatural beings that are generally referred to as the others. So this includes a variety of things like shapeshifters, vampires, elemental spirits, etc. But technically, this continent belonged to the others long before humans tried to settle on it, and there's kind of an uneasy relationship between the human settlements and the others who allow them, essentially, I guess, to rent land pretty much only because humans create and produce like some things that some of the others like to use. So there's a lot of tension because there's resentment from the human side about the others' control of like resources, because for instance they will tax the water in an area when humans like do something that they don't like, and then there's a great deal of resentment from the other side because they see humans as kind of not holding up their end of the bargain, like being really deceitful and often forgetting that they're being tenants, I guess, like where you don't, treat the land or the people who technically own it, in a commensurate fashion. Like you're not really paying your dues, but you expect to get things in, basically humans being really entitled. I guess two different things. Anyways, so the main character, Meg, was being held captive and escapes from the place where she was imprisoned and finds her way to the courtyard at a place called Lakeside. So courtyards are places run by the others in different human cities that act as kind of a connection point between the others and humans. Like they're the others that are in charge, I guess, of handling that relationship. Like you manage things like sending goods one way or the other and stuff like that. Only for the most part, the only real interaction between humans and the others comes in the form of the human liaison that works at the courtyard. So Meg gets hired to be the Lakeside Courtyard's human liaison and begins to try to make a life for herself. And in the process, she learns more about the others and also kind of starts to change the relationship between this particular courtyard and some of the people in this particular city. Like the person in charge of the Lakeside Courtyard is a wolf shapeshifter called Simon, and I guess he was told once a long time ago that the life, like a life that he saves will save the life of someone that he cares about. And this prophecy that he received when he was younger has shaped a lot of his life's decisions. And one of his really unusual decisions was to have stores in his courtyard that actually cater to both humans and others. Like basically there's more interaction between humans and others in his courtyard than in any other, even though he also doesn't actually like humans very much. So yeah, like this story basically follows what happens as Meg enters everyone's lives and as like her appearance begins to change the way these different groups interact with and view one another. This story hops around between several different characters, even though she is the main one. Like there's also a new police person who is transferred into the city. It follows Simon and some of the other leaders of the courtyard. And so you get sections from all of these characters, like quote unquote point of view, though it is written in third person. And I think the pacing is relatively moderate. Like it doesn't move super fast, even though it also isn't like super slow. So something that I like that the story acknowledges, I guess, that in order to try to bridge this kind of tension, that it kind of requires effort on both sides. Like you can't, these kind of relationships never work if only one side tries hard to make it work. Like you kind of need some people on both sides who are willing to put in that effort, and it does require a lot of effort to try to create relationships that span like such a long history of like tension, bloodshed, and prejudice. Like, and I appreciate the way it acknowledges that. So dislike. As you can probably tell from what I've already said, there's a lot of prejudice in this book. Like you've got human prejudice against the others prejudice against humans, and it comes across a great deal like in the descriptions and the way people talk. Oh, and also a heads up that the others, like the shapeshifters and so on, do eat people, and it has a number of fairly graphic scenes on them doing so.